You spoke like truth was easy, like love was something sure. Every sentence felt like shelter, every promise felt secure. I held on to every whisper like it was written in stone. I built my world on what you said while you were already gone. Your voice kept pulling me back, even when your heart was gone. I stayed for your words when your actions disappeared. I believed every soon you said, every don't be scared I heard. You gave me hope in sentences, but never in your arms. I stayed for your words, and they broke me just as hard. You said you needed time, you said you felt the same. I waited in between your lines while you escaped the blame. I read your silence carefully, searching for a sign. I kept forgiving what you meant instead of what you'd done. I learned how lies can sound like love when spoken soft enough. I stayed for your words when your touch felt far away. I built my faith on what you said while my heart slowly gave. You never asked me to hold on, but you never let me go. I stayed for your words and lost myself below. Words can be so dangerous when they're all you have. I love the way you promise things more than what we had. I was listening for forever, you were choosing your escape. I stayed for your words, even when they cost me peace. I kept believing in the meaning while you changed the tone completely. One day I'll trust what love does, not just what it says. I stayed for your words and learned where truth really is. I stayed for your words, but you never stayed for me. I told myself it was nothing, just a moment, just a phase. I learned how to smile through silence and excuse the pain you made. I wore your absence gently like it didn't tear me apart. I kept loving you in pieces with a broken, open heart. I stayed when it was heavy, I stayed when it was maybe I was too much. I learned how to shrink my feelings just to stay inside your touch. You never asked me to suffer, but you never asked me to stay. You let me carry the weight of us while you drifted away. I kept hoping you'd notice what loving you was doing to me. I loved you even hard, even when you pulled away. I loved you through the cold, through the words you couldn't say. I kept forgiving every wound, like pain was proof of truth. I loved you even hard, and I lost myself loving you. Maybe love shouldn't feel like this, like I'm breaking just to belong. Maybe I confused endurance for being strong. I called it loyalty, but it was fear in disguise. I loved you even hard, but I won't do that again. I won't trade my peace for hope, or my healing for pretend. If loving you means losing me, then that love wasn't true. I loved you even hard, I'm choosing me too. I loved you even hurt, but I won't bleed to be loved by you. Learned your moods like second skin. Your silence felt like blame. I bent myself around your knees, forgot I had a name. I swallowed every warning sign, called it compromise. I dimmed my light to match yours, just to keep you by my side. I kept telling myself that love meant losing ground. I loved you more than me, more than my own heartbeat. I chose your peace over my truth every time you needed me. I broke my boundaries quietly so you wouldn't see. I loved you more than me. I forgave things that still hurt before you even knew. I carried all the weight of us while you carried you. I made excuses for the nights you never showed up home. I kept giving you the parts that were breaking in my soul. I mistook self-erasure for unconditional love. I loved you more than me. I paid the cost in pieces. I stayed when you'd finally choose to stay. But love without self-respect still breaks your heart the same. I loved you more than me, and now I finally see that love should never cost your worth or your identity. I gave you all my softness, you never gave it back to me. I loved you more than me. Now I'm learning how to love myself where you used to be. Won't love anyone again more than me. I saw the cracks in your smile, heard the doubt in your name. Every time you pulled away, I stayed the same. I felt the weight of your silence, learned the shape of your scars. I kept believing the hurt wasn't who you are. I told myself love was patient, even when it was cruel. I loved you through the pain, through the nights I cried alone, through the words you couldn't say, through the distance in your tone. I held on when it was breaking, when it cost me everything. I loved you through the pain, and you never felt the same. I made excuses for you, turned my tears into blame. I kept forgiving the wounds that never changed. I stood in the shadow of maybe, waited for you to choose. I kept giving all of me while you had nothing to lose. I thought love meant surviving, not knowing when to let go. I loved you through the pain, through the hope that burned me slow, you through the pain. Now I'm learning how to heal. I loved you in the quiet hours, when doubt was in the room. I memorized your fragile smiles, like they could make us true. I stayed when signs were whispering that you were halfway gone. I told myself tomorrow would prove my heart was wrong. I saw the cracks, but I believed love could outgrow the fear. I loved you with hope when love was breaking apart. I held on to maybes with all of my heart. You loved me with distance and called it being kind. I loved you with hope while you were leaving me behind. I waited for your promises to land the way they should. I defended every silence like someone in love would. I turned your absence into didn't stay. I carried all my broken pieces, hoping you would see every crack, every shadow, every part of me. I gave you my confessions and my trembling hands. I loved you with my scars, hoping you would understand. I told myself love could heal, even when it left me torn. I loved you with my scars, every bruise, every fight. I opened up my darkness, hoping you'd hold me right. I gave my heart unguarded, even when it burned inside. I loved you with my scars, and still you let me hide. I've loved you all the silence while you stayed on the way. I held my pain like armor, but you didn't seem to care. I traced the lines of history that I thought you'd see. I loved you with my scars, even when you couldn't see me. I told myself love was courage, even when it broke me slow. I loved you with my scars, every fear, every doubt. I carried every fragment of the love you left without. I reached across the darkness, hoping you'd hold me near. I loved you with my scars, but you never stayed here. Maybe love shouldn't feel like this. Maybe giving all shouldn't hurt so deep. I loved you with my broken heart, and now the pain I keep. I opened every wound for you, hoping you'd see the truth. I loved you with my scars and lost my youth. I loved you with my scars, and I gave more than I knew. I held on through the darkness, hoping love would pull me through. I let my heart be vulnerable, even when it left me torn. I loved you with my scars, and now I must be reborn. I loved you with my scars. gave you all my mornings and the nights I couldn't keep. I whispered every secret, even the ones that made me weak. I held your hands like lifelines through storms I couldn't name. I loved you without fear, but you never stayed the same. I told myself love was endless, even when it hurt too much. I loved you without fear, with nothing left to hide. I gave my heart entirely while you just passed me by. I burned for you completely, I fell without a net. I loved you without fear, and it's a pain I can't forget. I saw the cracks you carried, but I stayed hoping to heal. I offered all my softness, hoping your heart would feel. I held the weight of silence when words would never come. I loved you without fear, but you were never truly when. I believed in every moment, even when it broke me down. I loved you without fear, I gave more than I could bear. I held you in the darkness while you were unaware. I trusted every heartbeat, even when it wasn't mine. I loved you without fear, but your love was never kind. Maybe love shouldn't feel like losing. Maybe giving all shouldn't leave you torn. I loved you like forever while you left me in the storm. I held my soul in open hands, hoping you'd stay near. I loved you without fear, and now I just feel here. I loved you without fear, or pain and endless nights. I gave you all my colors while you faded out of sight. I loved with no protection, and it left me in the cold. I loved you without fear, but love shouldn't hurt this bold. I loved you without fear, and now I must love me whole. I didn't plan to fall that fast. You felt like safety in my chest One look and every wall came down. I didn't even second guess. You spoke in almost promises. I heard them as the truth. I didn't know love could be reckless till I handed mine to you. I stepped into your arms without a shield, without a sign. I loved you without warning, without a way to brace. I gave you all my softness, you gave me empty space. I fell before I questioned, I stayed before I knew. I loved you without warning and learned the cost of you. I trusted every silence, believed what you didn't say. I filled the gaps with hope so I wouldn't walk away. You moved so carefully, like you might change your mind. I mistook your hesitation for love taking its time. I thought patience was devotion, I didn't see the signs. I loved you without warning, with my heart unarmed. I thought love would save me, instead it left its mark. You walked away so easy, I broke trying to stay true. I loved you without warning and lost myself in you. If love had given notice, I might have closed the door. But you felt like home arriving, not a storm I should avoid. I don't regret loving deeply, I regret loving blind. I loved you without warning, but I won't again like that. I learned to love with courage, not fear of being left. You were a lesson wrapped in beauty, a truth I couldn't see. I loved you without warning, now I'm choosing me. I'll love again someday, just not without warning. I stayed when I should have left, hoping love would grow. I whispered through the silence, but you never let me know. I held on to your shadow, even when you were gone. I stayed for empty moments, pretending you were strong. I told myself it mattered, even when it broke my heart. I stayed for nothing, I gave my all in vain. I loved you endlessly, but it couldn't ease the pain. I held on to a story that you never cared to write. I stayed for nothing, and I'm alone tonight. let the moment pass. I forgave your distance, I forgave your lies. I stayed for every almost that never saw sunrise. I told myself it mattered even when it wasn't true. I stayed for nothing, I gave my love away. I held the weight of two hearts while you chose to stray. I poured my soul in silence, hoping you would see. I stayed for nothing, and it broke me completely. Maybe love shouldn't hurt this way. Maybe giving all shouldn't cost so much. I stayed because I believed, and now I feel the loss. I love like it was forever, even when forever lied. I stayed for nothing, and I swallowed all the pride. I stayed for nothing, I gave more than I should. A love with no protection, and it left me misunderstood. I held on to a dream and never held me tight. I stayed for nothing, but I'll find my own light. I stayed for nothing, but I learned to stay for me. I stayed in the quiet between your words, where love was always almost there. I memorized the way you'd say my name, like you still cared. I filled the silence with maybes, painted dreams on empty plans. I held on to shadows of us with shaking hands. I told myself patience was love, even when it hurt to breathe. I stayed for the love I imagined, not the one you gave to me. I loved a version of you that only lived inside my dreams. Yeah, I held on to every promise you never meant to keep. I stayed for the love I imagined while you were leaving me. I learned how to smile through absence, make excuses for your cold. I turned breadcrumbs into hope just to feel less alone. I believed in every someday, even when it burned my chest. I kept choosing what we could be over what we were at best. I was fighting for a future you had all stayed for the love I imagined. Through the nights you didn't care, I gave you all my softness while you barely met me there. I called it faith, I called it patience, but it was losing me. I stayed for the love I imagined and forgot what love should be. Maybe love shouldn't feel this lonely. Maybe hope shouldn't hurt this much. I kept loving who you could have been, not who you was. I built a home in what ifs while you walked free. I stayed in the story. You stopped believing. I stayed for the love I imagined till I didn't recognize my face. I broke myself into pieces just to make you stay. I held on to all the feelings you never tried to save. I stayed for the love I imagined. Now I'm learning how to walk away. I stayed for the love I imagined, but I'm leaving for the truth. I reached across the silence. You looked the other way. Every word I whispered fell into yesterday. I bled my heart in shadows, hoping you'd feel me near. But you stayed in your distance while I disappeared. I told myself love was patient, even when it felt like pain. How soft you were distant. I gave you all my heart. You kept your walls like armor. I couldn't reach your part. I held on to the pieces you left behind unseen. How soft you were distant, and nothing in between. I forgave the empty nights, the echoes of your doubt. I carried every maybe when I should have walked out. I learned to dance around you, to keep the love alive. But I was drowning slowly while you just survived. I thought love meant persistence, but it became my chance. being kind shouldn't break. I gave you all my softness while you held back every stay. I learned that some hearts can meet where I began. I was soft, you were distant, and I lost myself within. I was soft, you were distant. I loved you like a fire, burning for someone who could never feel the pyre. I held on to the fragments of a love I couldn't keep. I was soft, you were distant, and now I let myself weep. I was soft, you were distant, and I'm learning to be me. When the nights got heavier and the words ran thin, when loving you felt lonely, I still let you in. I held the door wide open while you stood halfway. I made excuses for your silence every time you turned away. I told myself it was enough just to keep us alive. I was the one who stayed when you were already gone. I kept believing in someday while you moved on. I fought for every heartbeat. You barely tried to save. You let go without looking back. I was the gave you every heartbeat, every word I couldn't say. I laid my soul in pieces, hoping you'd stay. I wore my love like armor, but it was paper thin. You touched me so lightly and let the pain sink in. I told myself it was worth it, even as I fell apart. I was too easy to hurt. I let you in too fast. I trusted your shadow, and it shattered like glass. Self fell onto your moments, even when they weren't real. I was too easy to hurt, and now I'm learning to heal. I carried all your silence, every word you didn't say. I forgave the little coldness that you threw my way. I believed in every almost, every promise left untold. I was too easy to love, too gentle to be bold. I told myself it was enough, even when my heart broke through. I was too easy to hurt. I gave my all in vain. I offered every fragment of myself through the pain. I loved without protection, even when it left me scarred. I was too easy to hurt, and it broke me apart. Maybe love shouldn't feel like bleeding. Maybe giving all shouldn't cost this much. I gave you all my courage, and you took it with your touch. I was soft in a world so cruel. I believed in us too long. I was too easy to hurt, and now I learned to be strong. I was too easy to hurt, but I'll rise from every fall. Love again, carefully. I'll rebuild every wall. I'll hold on to my too easy to hurt, but I won't be that part. I was too easy to hurt, but now I'll guard my heart. I said the things I meant to say, no filters, no disguise. I laid my heart out on the table, let you read between my eyes. I never learned how to pretend or hold a safer truth. I thought love asked for honesty, so I gave it all to you. I didn't hide the broken parts I thought that made us real. I was too honest with you, too open, too sincere. I said the words you ran from while I stayed right here. I loved you with no exit plan, no mask, no alibi. I was too honest with you, and that's how I said goodbye. You spoke in careful sentences, never saying too much. I mistook your hesitation for love, learning how to trust. I showed you all my history, every scar, every fear. You held it like it mattered, then disappeared. You called my truth too heavy, I called it being real. I was too honest with you, when silence felt more safe. I told you when I needed you, you called it moving too fast. I didn't know my honesty would be the thing I'd lose. I was too honest with you, and I paid the price in truth. If loving you meant hiding, I was never built for that. I'd rather lose you honestly than keep you holding back. I wasn't asking for perfection, I was asking to be seen. I was too honest with you. didn't lose myself. I just lost you. You left me questioning myself. I remember how you looked at me like I was something rare. Now I'm staring at my reflection, wondering if I was ever there. You loved me in the beginning, like you knew who I was inside. Then you slowly pulled away, and I blame myself every night. I kept asking what I did wrong instead of why you changed. You left me questioning myself, my worth, my heart, my truth. I'm picking up the pieces of everything I thought I knew. You walked away so certain while I stayed confused. You left me questioning myself, trying to be enough for you. I replay every moment, every word I couldn't say. I wonder if I asked for too much or just loved the wrong way. I learned how silence can scream when answers never come. I learned how love can disappear and leave you feeling numb. You never said goodbye, you just stopped choosing me. You left me question marks, every flaw, every fear. I turned your distance into blame and wore it all right here. You never broke me loudly, you just let me fall apart. You left me questioning myself with your absence in my heart. Maybe love was never broken, maybe it was just uneven. I gave you all my certainty, you left me doubting heaven. I mistook your indecision for something I should fix. You left me questioning myself, but I'm learning what's true. The love I gave was honest, even if it wasn't returned to. I won't keep rewriting my words to match your point of view. You left me questioning myself, but I'm finding myself too. You left me questioning myself, but I won't stay lost in you. I gave you every secret, every corner of my soul, every whispered promise, every dream I couldn't hold. You smiled like nothing mattered while I fell apart inside. I trusted every heartbeat, but you never stayed the night. told myself love was patient, even when it burned like fire. You left my heart open wide, exposed in the coldest wind. I loved you with my everything, while you let me cave within. I held on to every shadow of the love I thought was true. You left my heart open wide, and no one could hold it like you. I waited in the silence, hoping you'd come back. I counted all the empty words and traced the love we lacked. I learned to fill the spaces where your touch should have been, but the warmth I imagined couldn't replace the sin. I believed in every maybe, even when it meant my pain. You left my heart open wide while you were running free. I carried all the pieces you left behind in me. I loved with no protection. I gave my soul to stay. You left my heart open wide, and I'm learning to close the pain. Maybe love shouldn't feel so empty. Maybe hope shouldn't hurt this deep. I offered you my everything, and you left me incomplete. I trusted in your presence, even when you walked away. You left my heart open wide, and I can't make you stay. You left my heart open wide. I love beyond my means. I held on to the echo of the love that might have been. I gave you all my softness. You left my soul in view. You left my heart open wide, and now I'm learning to love me deep. You left my heart open wide, but I'll close it for myself. I opened every window, letting your light come in. I gave you all my secrets, every fault, every sin. I trusted in your silence, believe the words you said. You let me fall so deeply, while you just turned my head. I told myself love was patient, even when it broke me slow. You let me fall. I gave my heart away. I loved you with my everything, and you let it fade. I held on through the storm, believed you'd never part. fragile heart. I counted all the mornings, hoping you'd stay near. I carried all the lonely nights and swallowed back my fear. I trusted in your presence, and though your touch was far away, you let me fall so completely. And I can't make you stay. I told myself it mattered, even when it hurt too much. You let me fall hard. I gave my love in vain. I held the pieces of a dream that you would never claim. I offered all my softness, I offered all my heart. You let me fall hard and tore my world apart. Maybe love shouldn't feel like breaking. Maybe giving all shouldn't hurt this deep. I trusted you completely, while you let me weep. I gave you all my courage, all the strength I had to give. You let me fall hard, and I'm learning how to live. You let me fall hard. I loved beyond my pain. I gave my soul unguarded, and I'll never love the same. I held on to the echoes of a love that wasn't true. You let me fall hard, and now I'll rise below you. You let me fall hard, but I'll stand again. I was standing right beside you, but you were halfway gone. You held my hand in public, but your heart was never on. I learned to read the pauses in everything you'd say. I felt the distance growing, even when you stayed. I kept hoping love would settle in if I waited long enough. You never chose me fully, you just chose not to leave. You gave me half your heart and called it everything. I loved you with my whole soul while you were unsure of me. You never chose me fully, you just let me believe. I watched you weigh your options like I was just one more. I felt you pull away from me while I was pulling yours. I made excuses for the silence, for the days you disappeared. I kept pretending I was strong while drowning in my fears. I mistook your indecision for something close to love. You never chose me fully. You kept one foot outside. You loved me in the moments, but never in your life. I was always the question you wouldn't answer straight. You never chose me fully. You just let me stay. Maybe love shouldn't feel conditional. Maybe I shouldn't beg to be seen. I kept shrinking just to fit into your uncertainty. I counted you more and more while you lived day to day. You kept me in your orbit and never in your fate. You never chose me fully, and I finally understand. I was holding on to promises you never held with your hands. I left you like forever. You loved me like a phase. You never chose me fully, and I paid the price in pain. I released the love I gave you back to the parts of me. You never chose me fully. Now I choose me. You packed your words in quiet lines, said everything but why. I watched your shadow leave the room before you said goodbye. I stood there holding yesterday like it could make you stay. You closed the door so easily, like love was in the way. I searched your face for second thoughts, but they never came. You never looked back twice, never slowed your pace. You left me in the moment while you escaped. I would have waited forever if you just met my eyes, but you never looked back twice. I replayed every sentence, wondered what I missed, how something that meant everything could end like this. You said you needed distance, like love was something small. I needed one more heartbeat, you needed none at all. I was counting every step you took, you already died. You never looked back twice, never felt the doubt. I was still believing. but I stood still for years. I carried all the weight of unspoken fears. One day I'll stop replaying the night you chose goodbye. You never looked that thrice, but I loved you every time. If you ever wonder why it hurt, I did what you couldn't do. I stayed. You never raised your voice, you never slammed the door. You said my name like it was safe, like I was something more. Your hands were always careful, your words never unkind. That's why it hurt so deeply when you slipped out of mine. You didn't mean to break me, that's what makes it worse. You took my heart gently, like it was yours to keep. You held it like a promise you never meant to be. You didn't tear it open, you didn't push me away. You just stopped holding on and let it quietly fade. You stayed long enough to feel like something real, long enough to teach my soul what hope was supposed to feel. You never said forever, but I heard it anyway. In the way you looked at me, in the things you didn't say. I built a future in the space you left undefined. You took my heart gently, like it couldn't be hurt, like loving me softly would make leaving less worse. You never meant to shun me, you just slipped away. You took my heart gently and didn't know how to stay. Maybe the cruelest goodbyes are the ones without blame, when no one is guilty, but nothing's the same. I keep replaying your kindness like it was proof I was wrong, but gentle hands can still let go and leave you empty and alone. You took my heart gently and I gave it complete. I trusted the softness and fell too deep. You never meant to hurt me, but you walked away the same. You took my heart gently and still left me in pain. If love is meant to be careful, why does it hurt this way?